Nobody expected what happened that night. Nobody could have predicted the moment when the stadium lights dimmed, and a single name echoed through the silence like a warning from fate: Yoshinobu Yamamoto. It didn't begin with fireworks or headlines. It began with a whisper. A rumor. A strange, unsettling question: is he really doing it on 0 days of rest? Fans leaned forward as if gravity itself had shifted toward the mound. The air had weight, heavy, tense, strange. Something was different about Yamamoto, yet no one could say what. Perhaps it was the calm burning under his eyes, or the quiet defiance in every step he took. This wasn't just a pitcher walking to the mound. This was a man entering a chapter of history that had not yet been written. His teammates knew it. His coaches felt it. The crowd sensed it before the first pitch even left his fingers. And when it did, when the ball snapped through the air like lightning, everything changed. The discomfort he once carried, that slight uncertainty critics had whispered about, vanished as if the universe itself had pressed delete. He wasn't supposed to pitch today. He wasn't supposed to even consider stepping onto this mound. Yet here he was, a warrior choosing battle on 0 days rest. A new phrase would be born because of this moment: Naka Zero Nichi. A term no one had used before, no one had even imagined. A term now carved into the memory of every fan who watched the impossible unfold. But the story didn't unfold quickly. It stretched, pulsed, trembled with tension. Yamamoto exhaled. The crowd froze. The catcher raised his glove like a target painted on destiny. The second pitch came faster than the first. Sharper. More violent. A statement disguised as a baseball. By the third pitch, people weren't asking if he was tired. They were asking if he was human. Each delivery was a challenge to nature, an act that defied logic and burned through expectation. Somewhere in the dugout, a teammate whispered, "Look at him, he's not pitching. He's fighting." Because that's what this was. A fight against exhaustion, doubt, and the unspoken rule that greatness should wait for proper timing. But greatness waits for no one. The innings stacked like chapters in a legend. Fans grew louder, yet he remained calm, dangerously calm. The kind of calm only seen in athletes who step beyond their limits and find something new inside themselves. And inside Yamamoto, something had awakened. A new rhythm to his breath. A new fire in his muscles. A new clarity in his mind. He started carving the strike zone with the precision of a surgeon, the violence of a storm, the elegance of an artist. Hitters walked back to the dugout shaking their heads, some muttering curses, others laughing in disbelief. How do you hit that on 0 days rest? How is he even standing right now? The cameras zoomed in on his face. No fear, no hesitation, only purpose. Not a single bead of sweat betrayed him. The crowd began chanting his name, not softly, but like a rising wave trying to lift him higher with every syllable. And the more they roared, the more he locked in. Every pitch became a message. A message to those who doubted him. A message to those who believed in him. A message to the future, to anyone who would read the story of this day. He wasn't pitching for numbers. He wasn't pitching for awards. He was pitching for something bigger: legacy. The game tightened. Pressure mounted. One pitch could change everything. But pressure never touched him. It wasn't allowed near him. His heartbeat, even on the mound, remained steady. Controlled. Unshaken. At one point, commentators fell silent. Not because they had nothing to say, but because they feared saying anything would break the spell forming around him. The opposing team began to feel it, the invisible force, the aura, the gravity he created. They swung earlier, reached farther, tried harder than ever, and failed just as quickly. This wasn't about speed. It wasn't about mechanics. It was about will, raw, unbreakable will. Will that transformed 0 days of rest into a weapon. Then came the pitch everyone would talk about for years. A split change that dropped as if the earth itself had pulled it downward. The hitter froze. The crowd erupted. The stadium shook. That pitch would travel across highlight reels around the world, stamped forever with the caption: "The birth of Naka Zero Nichi." But Yamamoto didn't smile. He didn't pump his fist. He simply walked back to the mound like a man too focused to celebrate, too determined to stop. He wasn't finished. In the late innings, when arms usually beg for mercy, his pitched harder. Deeper. Sharper. As if fatigue had been erased from his vocabulary. Opponents stared at him with disbelief. "You shouldn't be able to do this," one muttered while stepping out of the box. Yamamoto simply stared back, calm, unreadable, resolute. And then came the moment. The final out. The ball cracked into the catcher's glove. The stadium exploded into chaos. Teammates rushed to him. Cameras flashed. History cheered. But Yamamoto simply lowered his head, almost humbled, almost overwhelmed. He had done more than pitch a game. He had rewritten expectations. He had erased every doubt. He had created a new chapter in baseball vocabulary. Naka Zero Nichi. Not a myth, not a rumor, but a legacy born from courage. And as he walked off the mound, the discomfort that had once haunted him, the small shadow trailing behind his greatness, was gone. In its place, he carried something far more valuable. A story, a standard, a symbol of what happens when an athlete refuses to be limited by the rules of what is normal. He left the field not just as a pitcher, but as a reminder that sometimes, history isn't made by those who rest, but by those who rise when everyone expects them to fall. And in that rising, Yamamoto gave the world a moment it will never forget. A moment that whispers to every athlete, every dreamer, every believer.